Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. So the paid request this time for John, the Zero Cool. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Mask, the 1985 film that stars Cher, Sam Elliott, Eric Stoltz. You got Laura Dern in an early role, Estelle Getty, Lawrence Monison, who was in The Last American Virgin and Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. You got Steve James has a bit part in this. Andrew Robinson has a bit part in this as the Doctor. He was the bad guy in Dirty Harry. Richard Dysart from John Carpenter's The Thing. He was the Doctor in that. He's in here as Cher's dad. Anytime I look at it, I always think of Dr. Copper from The Thing. But yeah, a lot of recognizable people, and this is based on Roy L. Dennis, also known as Rocky, that he had cranial dysplasia, dysplasia. He had a fucked up face, is what I'm saying. He had a screwed up face. And how much this is true and not true, I don't know the details. But the way the film portrays it, in 1978, it takes place. Eric Stoltz is with his mom. His mom is with a biker gang. And he may look different, but he's a normal kid. He collects baseball cards. He likes the Brooklyn Dodgers. He's friends with Lawrence Monison, who's the son of another biker. He likes to hang out with the bikers. All the bikers treat him very well. There's this big guy played by, I think, Dennis Burkley, which I recognize the guy. He was in Son-in-Law of Pauly Shore. He was the guy in Suburban Commando who said, "What? This is the 90s. We're gonna sue you." That guy. He's here as like the big guy who doesn't really talk much, but he's got like a good heart. And granted, I mean, if it's based on true story, and if Cher's, the mom that Cher plays, was part of a biker gang, I just, when you think of a biker gang, you always think of the rough and tumble, fights, drinking. While this comes off as a bit more sanitized version of a biker gang, because it's a bit where Dennis's character Dozer, he's playing hide and seek, and there's puppies, and he gets a puppy for Eric Stoltz's character. I don't know if all that happened, but maybe it did. I think because, we always think of movies and how a lot of times they villainize bikers, so maybe that's the thing, is in real life, there are people who just, they like riding bicycles, motorcycles, I should say. That's it. Because I'm too busy thinking of movies like Stone Cold and stuff. But yeah, Eric Stoltz's character, he's very smart, he does well at school, he has a dream trip, he wants to go to Europe one day. He'll converse with doctors and goes, "Yeah, I look weird, but otherwise I'm pretty normal." He's going to this school, and the guys doesn't want him to go, saying some BS reason of, "Oh, well, there's a special school." It's like, "No, I want to be here." And Cher's like, I do like Cher's attitude. I can't replicate it. I thought she did her job. Like, she tells the guy off and says, "No, we don't come here. He passed all the tests, and pretty much get your head out of your ass." And yeah, one of the fun stuff for me was like seeing all the recognizable people. Again, Cher playing the mom, I thought she did a good job. Where you tell she cares for her kid, but she's not a saint. She does have a drug problem. There are times where she's been helpless on the couch, and the Eric Stoltz is like, "What am I supposed to do? And are you high? You need to get clean," and all that stuff. So she might not be a saint, but you tell she really, really loves her kid. Sam Elliott plays a biker that's come back. He's been away for a while. He comes back. And you tell Eric Stoltz that Sam Elliott would be good for his mom. And him and Cher, they both had a thing in the past. And it's always great to see Sam Elliott. Wonderful actor. whether it be bit parts of the Big Lebowski or bigger parts like in Tombstone. Sam Elliott just had that great voice to him, mannerism, cool Western feel to him anytime he's on screen. He just has that presence, he has that stoic aura about him, and he just has such a great voice. That's an actor I wish would have gotten like much bigger roles. That's one of the reasons I could watch a film like Frogs, which is a bad movie, but Sam Elliott stars in it, and that's why I could watch it, because he's the star of it. And he didn't get to star in a whole lot of movies. He did one called The Final Cut about a bomber. I like Sam Elliott, but that movie was even a bit too boring and unexciting even for me, despite the Sam being in it. But yeah, I wish he had gotten, more starring roles, but it is what it is. Even as General Ross in Hulk 2003, I thought he did a good job, where you really wanted to hate his character. Sorry, alright, just looking at something here. But yeah, I talk about other recognizable people. I did Steve James from American Ninja 1, 2, and 3. He's here as an assistant to a doctor. Sadly, he's not in it a lot. He's in like one or two scenes, but still nice to see him. Andrew Robinson, he appears for a couple minutes as a doctor who warns them about you only have a few months. But Cher and Eric Stoltz say it before him and go, yeah, we've been hearing this stuff for years and years. Sam Elliott, I like how the bikers are very friendly to Eric Stoltz's character. No one judges him or anything. Cher, I like that, she's not a saint, but she's not a pushover either. And she has some fun lines, like when she finds the puppy with Eric Stoltz and she knows that Dozer did it. She says something like, don't make that fat bastard eat 30 pounds of dog food. But there's no hostility to her voice. So it's, even though she's a flawed character, she's still a likable character. Like she'll go out and party and do things she isn't supposed to, but when she gets home, she'll still help her kid, because her kid will get these headaches every once in a while. She'll do things and mean well, but she does in the wrong way. Like at one point, Eric Stoltz's character is complaining about meeting someone and meeting the right person, so Cher gets him a hooker, but he doesn't want that. And I recognize the hooker is Tilly Joe Minter. She was Alice's friend in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, the Dream Child, one of the few that survived that movie. She was in The People Under the Stairs as the woman talking to Fool about the card she got and what they say, and Ward and Fool, which I love People Under the Stairs. So, okay, nice to see her in this role. Sometimes it pushes a little bit almost close to a after-school special sentimentality. Like when I guess he graduates. It shows how far removed I am from this world where you graduate from junior high school and then you go into high school. Usually it's just, okay, you passed. Next year you're off to, high school. But not an actual graduation from junior high to high school. But I guess here there is a graduation for that, which, again, that's not how it worked where I lived. There was no graduation from junior high school. If you get through middle school, good. 8th grade, good. You go to 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, that's it. But Dozer's like trying to spit out, proud of you, Rocky. And I was like, okay, this is get close to after school special type of thing. And sometimes the plot elements, they don't all fully fluctuate into something. Like they bring up the whole thing where Estelle Getty is Cher's mom, Richard Dysart is Cher's dad. And you know there's a rough patch between her and her dad. And they come over for a bit, and they care for their grandson, Eric Stoltz's character, but her and the dad have a bit of, a little bit of tension. At one point they leave, and Sam Elliott mentions how, he always gets under your nerves. But then nothing's really follow up on that. on whether, like, any heart-to-heart conversation, at least I don't remember any, between Cher and her dad, or maybe maybe Eric Stoltz talked to the granddad and says, my mom, your daughter, cut her some slack. She means well. She's done a lot for me. Blah blah blah. Again, nothing really comes of that. Like, they bring it up and then they don't really do anything afterward, to a point that I don't even know if it needed to be brought up in the first place. Because there's already enough with Eric Stoltz talking with Lawrence Monason, planning this trip to Europe one day, or Eric Stoltz kind of pushed or guided into going to this camp for blind people and meeting Laura Dern, and she can't see but she feels her face, but because of how he teaches her colors by touching certain materials, and other stuff, they fall in love. Like, you have that stuff, you have the stuff of Cher partying too much, you have stuff between Cher and Sam Elliott. Like, there's enough stuff that sometimes is a little bit too much into the recipe, too much salt, too much pepper, and leaves things a little bit cluttered. Like, again, I thought Andrew Robinson and them, the doctors, they were going to come back later in, but they don't. I thought Richard Dysart and Estelle Getty, they were going to come back later, and there's going to be some kind of resolution to that. There really isn't. Then things kind of go turmoil, where, spoiler, the parents of the blind girl see Eric Stoltz's character. And by the way, Eric Stoltz, I thought, did a good job. It's very hard to act through that makeup. And I have criticized Eric Stoltz in the past. Like, he's okay in The Fly 2. He's fine. He's no Jeff Goldblum, but he's fine. I do think it was the right decision to replace him in Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox. I think Michael J. Fox did that role a lot better than Eric Stoltz would have. But he's an actor I don't mind. I didn't mind him in Anaconda. I thought he did a good job here. He's just not like the first or second actor I would pick for a role, but he's more than serviceable. More than that, so. And it's very hard to have all this makeup and act through it, but he definitely did a sense of his sincerity, his kindness, that he's just a typical kid who goes through a lot, puts up with a lot, and usually has a bit of a warmth to his voice. But things, again, just one after the other. The parents won't allow Laura Dern to see and talk with Eric Stoltz anymore. He's going to high school and people are talking about... There's a good scene where a guy talks about his mask, and then Eric Stoltz pushes him and goes, "I'll take off my mask if you take your mask off." Biatch! He didn't say it, but sure call him a bitch. And then Lawrence Monason, he can't go on the trip because he's got to go back with his dad. Which I don't blame Lawrence Monason. I mean, if things are not going well, he's got to go back to his dad. And so I guess his dad wasn't a biker. I forget why he was there. If he was there with his mom or... I forget the details. So I might have gotten that wrong. But he talked about he's got to go back. He's got to work this stuff. And... Eric Stoltz here acting like a dick. I mean, I get it, like, all these things are going on, and you kind of tell you throw your friend out, and you see the hurt in Lawrence Monason's face. But you think, like, Cher, like, is watching all this, and, like, would have gone up and comforted Lawrence Monason, or would have called out Eric Stoltz and says, "Hey, you shouldn't talk to your friend like that, what the hell?" But nothing really came of that, other than, Lawrence Monason has a hurt look on his face. And then Eric Stoltz's character never apologizes to that guy. He never says sorry to that guy. It's like, well, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't take the trip to Europe. I mean, I gotta go do this thing and make money and do all this other stuff. I mean, what you want to do? Live out on the street? I get the guy being upset, but I mean, the fact that, he treats his friend like crap, pretty much throws him out, and then there's never any resolution to that. I didn't say that's real life. We don't always get resolutions in real life. But yet, how much of it is truly biographical, anytime you look at a biographical movie, you always gotta question things. Because many times there's a whole lot of lies more than truth in biographies and whatever the case. Laura Dern, her and him have a nice, like, final moment where they hug each other and kiss each other. Then, Cher's cleaned up a bit. She's going out a bit more with Sam Elliott's character. At one point, they're all hanging out. He has a bigger headache. Goes lie down. Cher's having fun in the kitchen. Wakes up her kid. I thought this was an effective scene because I thought Cher did a really. I mean, Cher's actually a pretty good actress and a pretty good singer. I mean, I have no issues with Cher. I thought she sold this scene very well. Where she's like, "Oh, you're cold. Oh, it's because you got your covers off." And he's like, "Oh, come on, don't pull this shit with me." And how she freaks out, she smashes stuff. It's not too over the top. It fits with the character. And of course, spoiler, he has died. Because apparently people with this affliction, sometimes they can die just like that. And again, I thought her performance was very effective. There's another point earlier on where she misses her kid when she's at camp, and she talks about how she misses him, and Sam Elliott kind of pats her head. Good performance from those two. He dies. Now, granted, I thought a lot more would be at the funeral, at least Lawrence Monason and some other people, but so I really feel it's pretty much you have Dozer, you have Sam Elliott, then you have Cher. I guess, and from what I understand, I think in real life there was another brother character. Like Cher had another son. I think her character. I think that woman, one of the reasons she gave her story to be made was because to raise money because her other kid had AIDS, I believe. I could be wrong on that. So it's weird that none of that is in the movie, that the brother character. I thought that was very strange. But yeah, maybe they thought it'd be one thing too many, but at the same time, it's like, that seems like a pretty important detail for the story of this person. If that's the case, there you go. I mean, biographies, there's so much BS. It disappoints, like, why even make biographies in the first place? Because if most biographies are all BS, or 50% BS, or 60 or 40, it's like, why make the biography in the damn first place? So sometimes I just think that stuff, but either way, I did like the film. I thought the acting was rather solid. Like I said, it was great to see all these recognizable people in there. The music, I think when this first came out, the director wanted Bruce Springsteen, but something happened and they weren't able to get it, so they used Bob Seger. I think the mom, the real life mom of this kid was a bit pissed. Is like, I don't think my kid even knew who Bob Seger was. But later on, I guess they were able to work stuff out, because you now hear Bruce Springsteen. But so I guess that means if you did an earlier copy of this movie, like VHS or something, maybe that'd be a question I ask for people. If it's VHS, would it be the Bob Seger songs? But then here, now it's the Bruce Springsteen songs, which is great. I mean, I like Bruce Springsteen, but I like Bob Seger as well. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what this was with the Bob Seger songs in there, but Bruce Springsteen's good as well, so nice to hear that. I said sometimes I didn't have the best focus. Sometimes it seemed like plot points were going to be brought up, but then kind of dumped. Sometimes I like the way Lawrence Monason leaves the picture. I'm like, the fact that no one called out Eric Stoltz on his BS. I wasn't really big on that. Again, the grandparents, Richard Dysart, Estelle Getty, I thought there was going to be a bit more to that. Some resolution, some type of thing. But there wasn't. You think they would be there at the end of the film? And maybe Cher has a talk with her dad, and her dad hugs his daughter, and says something like, he was lucky to have a mom like you. You know, something like that. At least something like that. I could say this. He was lucky to have a mom like you, and they hugged. Like, at least that would have been some kind of thing. But overall, I thought it had some good heart to it. I thought that the actors did their jobs well. And that's what made it watchable, is that the actors and their performances. And at least it has a good heart to it. Wasn't too overly sentimental. Again, at times it almost got to that way. But, like I said, there's a nice sense of humor at times. Cher, I thought her character again was interesting. Flawed character, but you did definitely see the warmth and love she had for her son. Overall, yeah, I did like it. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.